Hey, in this video, I'm going to show you some tips, tricks, mods, and some hidden gems. Stay with me. The DMG-01, the brick, the very first Game Boy. This wasn't my first Game Boy because I sold my first Game Boy back in the day. But I've had this one for a long time. This was the very first Game Boy mod I did. I did the screen. This was a hard mod. You had to take the film off the back and solder these wires in. And the soldering job on this is horrendous. And if you have one of these old ones, they don't mod the screens like this anymore. I mean, you might find a few guys that do, but this is probably the worst. Now they just put a newer backlit screen in them with the little circuit board, and it looks great. Look how faded, or not faded, yellowed. This has a charm. It has a nostalgia to it. I mean, this is Bassmaster Classic. It's actually a Game Boy Color game. If you find the black cart, it'll be Game Boy Color or Game Boy. But this game, I believe, looks better in black and white than it does, say, on a Game Boy Color. It looks like crayons. The colors are so contrasting, and to me, just really messes up. I think this is a hidden gem if you like fishing games. Let's see. And you have a contrast over here that helps you with your contrast a little bit. So, kind of a history of mods and things I've done through the year. I can't remember what year this was, but this was a very long time ago. But I still play it for maybe this game. A few other games. The ghosting is horrible. So as like a fast moving game, not so good. I could play Sword of Hope 2 on this also. Let's choose this guy, Robert. So hidden gem, let's see what we're doing here. It's a long game. Especially if you're doing tournaments. I'm just clicking through and choose a place to fish. There. Oh good, nobody's fishing in this spot, so I'm gonna fish here. You cast like any fishing game. Bring it in, and when they strike, you have to push down and A to grab the, oh, wow, that right off the bat. Sometimes you fish for a long time and don't catch nothing. Okay, you got your line tension at the bottom as you bring it in. Okay, when it starts beeping, that's too much tension, but you push back the opposite direction they're going, and you can kind of reel them in, but they're always changing direction. So there is a fight mode to this, kind of, you could say. It's not just a catch and bring it in. That would be really boring. And bing, 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 but I got him. Okay, and then you got to catch him, right? Got him. Okay, if you miss, 19 inches, 3 pounds, cool. Anyway, so the DMG-01, the original, it still has a use, especially if you used it back in the day. The nostalgia for some games, the slower paced games, I like to slow down and enjoy it. I'll play this instead of my 3DS on occasion. This is the MGB-001, the Game Boy Pocket. I bought this and I was really excited. So you got brightness over here. You can change the color. There's a touch sensor underneath. There's whoever modded this. This isn't the latest and greatest, but it is right up there. I'll tell you why this is not as good as it looks. Look in the back. 2 AAAs. This battery life on this is horrible. You notice I put, this is a Dollar Tree Jot sticker. It's just like a bubble sticker. It's slightly, you can see through. If you look really close, you can see how dim the power button is. There's a reason why I did that. The only time I've played this is turning the brightness all the way down. That's hard to see. But at night, laying in bed, before I go to sleep. I have played this a few times. I turn it down the brightness so the battery will last longer. Well, this light was glaring in my face. I couldn't, it was so distracting. So I put that on there. So as soon as I see that red go away completely, I know the battery's about dead. That'll make your battery life last a little bit longer. There is, I haven't caught it in stock yet, but there's supposed to be a 2 AAA battery pack on here that has wireless charging, like the little QI deal, like you set your phone on. Now that would change this one forever. That would make this my favorite one. Okay, the game I'm playing on this game is made by Ocean. Ocean made a good game. LOL. Navy SEALs. I think this one is a very cheap hidden gem. I like playing it on here just because it don't really last very long. I usually wind up dying, but anyway, let's see. Kind of generic looking, but I'll show you on this first level something that you can't jump and shoot at the same time, which is crazy. Get down. Watch this. See that guy up there? If you hit select, the sniper comes in and clears the screen. Now, I wouldn't use it there, but that just shows you. I don't know how many of them you have. Can't remember. Maybe 1. Yep, 1. It's not the worst game. Cheap game. Anyways, Game Boy Pocket. If you're going to get one, get a rechargeable battery pack if you can find it. Or go with something else, because that is the downfall of this. So hopefully you take something away from that. Pocket. The CGB001, the Game Boy Color. Great console, but like suffers from the same thing all the ones of that time did. There was no backlight. Now, I bought this one with an already modded screen. It's normal size though. I think there's a oversized screen mod that would be better. Let me kind of give you a comparison. So the Pocket, look how much bigger the screen is. That's why I like this one so much. If the battery life was better. The battery life on this one, 2 AA's instead of AAA's. Pretty good. There's a sensor under here, but it's not for color, it's for brightness. So you can dim it when every time you turn it on, it's perfectly in the middle. So you got 2 above and 2 below if you wanted to change and I think there's better screens than this now. You know, like I say, I haven't bought a modded Game Boy Color or anything in a lot of years. This game, Donald Duck Going Quackers. Disney made some good games, and Donald Going Quackers is no exception. Here's the funny thing. They made a version of this for the Game Boy Advance. I like the Game Boy Color better. I'm kind of a little strange sometimes. I like things that I consider D-makes, I guess. Like there's Dig Dug and then there's Atari Dig Dug. I like the Atari Dig Dug. It's just got a charm to me. Simplicity. So Donald Duck, they kidnapped Daisy. Go through here. Start. I mean, beautiful game. It's not the hardest game. You got like a jump, double jump, and then there's like not really power-ups, but there's certain sections you have to get this. Makes you run around kind of mad, I guess. You're, Donald Duck going wacky. Anyways, so I think this is a hidden gem, and it's not a very expensive game, really. There's lots of levels, password system, classic, old school. Game Boy Color. The AGB001. The first Game Boy Advance. Great form factor. This one has a modded screen, but it's not as good as the new ones. This was actually after like the newer screens came out. This one's not as clear as what you can get today, but I got it for a good price because it had the older screen, and I'm not as picky as some people. So this one is really hard to play if you don't have a modded screen, because it's just like the original Game Boy. You have to sit underneath the light. Okay, this game doesn't even have a label, but it's a reasonably priced game. Power Rangers Ninja Storm. You're like, wait a minute, Power Rangers, come on. Well, my nephew was playing it, and I was playing it, and we played for hours, just about, me and him. Okay, it starts off pretty generic. It's just a beat 'em up. But I'll cut away and come back to okay. Oh, well, I missed it. You have to push the direction and the button. I think we got that. Go up and B. Oh, no, I did. And they can get harder. I would suggest playing this game with the Green Ranger. I think it makes it a little bit more challenging because he has the flamethrower instead of the gun. The gun, to me, kind of ruins it for me, in my opinion. You can choose hit select and change rangers, but the green one is what you start with. Every character I think has the flamethrower if you choose him. So see a little power bar. It gets harder where you have to hold the R and then the direction. Let's see. Oh, he got me. Okay, the bar goes back. Quick time battle. Anyway. Let's see if we can. Oh. Okay. I think this is a great game. Like, just give it a chance. Get past the first few bosses, and you'll see what I mean about the variety. I don't want to ruin it for you, but there's like quick time events, and which was, I mean, it's pretty generic right now. But what makes a great game to me is when the difficulty ramps up. I wasn't paying attention, and you're like, well, these are just generic looking, but they're relentless. I mean, there's one level, I'm not going to tell you, there's something you have to figure out. I was like, it wouldn't go past the spot, and there was something I had to do, and my nephew figured it out. It was great. He had a good time, and I'm glad, because he's more of like a Minecraft player. Mario Kart and stuff. And he doesn't understand how these older games had to be produced to make a good game. The limitations of these is what makes them so great, in my opinion. The creativity. So it's not like let's see, I can't remember if it was something. Anyway, so the creativity in these games, you don't find that in games nowadays, I don't think. I think that I've played a few of the Power Ranger games. They're pretty good. I'm not a Power Rangers fan, but this is a great game, in my opinion. The original Game Boy Advance. Get one with the backlit screen if you're going to get one. The AGS001. The little clamshell. This is unmodded. Okay, it has a front-lit screen. You can see it, but watch, when you turn it off. That's the way all Game Boys were up until this point, but it has a light. See, it has a built-in light. It hasn't aged well, in my opinion. You can see it, if you're in a dark room. Some of the Game Boy Advance games are, even with the light, kind of hard to see because there's a lot going on. So I use this to actually play my high contrast Game Boy games. So let me show you what I mean. Hang on. Let's see. Okay. This is how I use it. And you're like, what? Hey, look. A modded shell by myself. I did that with Sharpie years ago. This is the Gamester. It's supposed to be for 3 Game Boy Advance games. Here's the problem. It will not play Game Boy games because of one reason. I'll show you. Pretty good drawing. It was so scratched up, I thought I'll just get a Sharpie and put that on there. Proud of that. Anyway, so it works fine. But here's the thing. When you put a Game Boy game in there, look what you're doing with your back. You're ruining that label just over time. Now, I'm not saying that this label isn't great, but just for example. So I had this, and I thought, oh, this will be perfect. This is called the Gamester. It's you can put 3 different games, 1, 2, 3, and then switch between the 3. You slide this in there. There's only one problem. The way that the Game Boy Advance is made, it doesn't recognize Game Boy games. So I actually bought this thinking, oh, I'll get to put a top load and protect my Game Boy games, the ones with the good labels, and play the simple games with this washed out front lit screen. Well, let me show you. I figured it out. This on the left right here, I actually just used a toothpick. I should probably glue a piece in there if this is all I'm using it for. I cut it to match, because the normal Game Boy game, when it goes in, it fills in that slot. So when you put this in there, it tricks it into thinking that the Gamester is a Game Boy game. Let's put this in here. Watch this. It recognizes it. So that's a little simple hack mod. You know, I'm all about the cheap things, but they should make a top load SP, in my opinion, or something that just wraps around and replaces this with like grips. It would be great, a great accessory. But that's one thing you can do. And Batman for the Game Boy is an excellent game. If you're not worried about aspect ratio, I'll play it full screen sometimes. But you have to have that. This is like Super Mario Land, in my opinion. That's what it looks like. It's so little. Let's see. But this is a great game. I've played this for probably hours. Well, I haven't beaten it, but that's the good thing about older games, in my opinion, is the challenge. Come back to it later and you forgot what you had learned. But anyway, I'll say it like that. I didn't even get all that. Anyway, great game. Hard to see. I would play that on some kind of backlit Game Boy, unless this is all you have. And if you've already got the Gamester, that's a little trick you can use. All right, 001. The AGS 101 Game Boy Advance SP. This is considered probably the best, or it is the best, original unmodded Game Boy. Now this one does have I replaced the shell. Aftermarket shell, look, the Nintendo fell off. I need to get another, you can get a sticker, but I'm not worried about it. I play this. You got 2 brightness settings. Awesome. Still has the problem of, if you're going to play your Game Boy or your Game Boy Color games, worrying about the labels getting worn from your hands. Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time, that was on every platform, but on this one, it's a 2D platformer, and it is great. I would say this is probably a have to own and play, especially if you like 2D. I mean, it's not on a lot of people's radar, because anyway, so I just started on a save file. I don't remember where I am. But that's slow right there. Oh. Whoa. Anyway, Sands of Time. Excellent game. Matter of fact, I don't even play any of the other Sands of Time games, if you can imagine. Imagine that. Will. Fell to my death. Great game. The 101 is the best. The Game Boy Micro, kind of a novelty, in my opinion. I bought it years ago, and it was way overpriced now, in my opinion. It's cool to have if you just already have it or like it. This is an aftermarket front face, and it kind of cuts off a little bit. It actually has there's more screen in there. I was disappointed when I bought that, so something to think about if you're going to reface it. The screen is so small, you have to be very selective about what games. And on this one, I don't know if the battery's tired. It doesn't last a super long time. But I do like playing the Pac-Man collection for, you hit scroll. So I have carried it in my pocket and played Pac-Man sitting somewhere. But like I say, kind of a novelty, in my opinion. Just so small. Well, it's micro. Yeah. Not much to say about it. Let me pause this. Okay, this one was in really rough shape. I had to get the R button over here unstuck. And this is actually not in good shape. Do you know what all this is? Sharpie. I colored, all this was worn. Black Sharpie. You can kind of see the sheen. There was so much wear. It wasn't really bad shape. If you take this face off, there's grime in there. I did clean around the buttons, but I didn't go too crazy. I think it looks good for what it is. I'll probably hang on to it. I may sell it just because of the price. Buy something else with it. But I have it for videos and things like this. Enjoy what you have. Play what you have. The Micro. The DS Lite. Another great way to play Game Boy Advance games. An alternative to the 101. And something to think about too is if you find one and the bottom screen is just tore up and doesn't look good, as long as you can get to start the Game Boy Advance game and play it on the top screen, because the top screen doesn't use a touch screen, so it's usually in a lot better shape than the bottom screen, even in one that's well played. And this one, the right button doesn't work, so I play games on it sometimes that don't require that, but I mean, you can find them and fix that. I just haven't fixed it. We bought this on clearance whenever the DSi came out, so this was originally from Hastings. I lent it to a relative. They carried it around in their pocket too much and messed the button up. Anyways, the hidden gem. Oh, something else about the DS Lite. 2 speakers. You can turn the volume up, and I think this has one of the best sounding, probably the best volume. Some of the other ones, especially as they get older, are hard to hear. And I'm kind of hard at hearing, so if I'm around family and I'm just hanging out, I went and picked this one up just for the sound. So the hidden gem I have for you is not GT. Advanced Championship Racing, GT2, GT3. It's actually just GT3 because you can find that one for a reasonable price. This is not a multi-cart. It actually came out like this. It has 4 games. MotoGP, but it's a little bit more expensive. But if I was going to pick one up, GT3, it's considered the Gran Turismo of handhelds, and I agree. It's a great game. Love playing it. Let's get into here and let's see how license. Let's see. Super Pass. Let's see. Lots of different courses and cars and unlocking parts. Not really tuning it, but I mean, it has a charm to it. And I like racing games, so let's do one little race here and hang around for a minute. Hey, like and subscribe. I don't even ask that very much. I mean, this channel is really new. Whoa. Well, I'm embarrassed now. Okay, I'm going to pay attention. You ready? There we go. You can spin out if you hold the gas too long and just drift too long. But if you start out at the first, you can get very, very good at this game. Kind of learn the limits of your cars. Different cars kind of handle a little different. Oh, that was horrible. Anyway, watching through my screen here. Okay, let's do. Okay, well, I'm going to edit that out. Anyway. Nintendo DS. It's an okay way to play. Thanks for watching. Core Play Retro. CPR out.